All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful technologies shaping our world right now, artificial intelligence. I know, it can seem super complex, but I promise, by the end of this, you're going to get exactly how it works, from the phone in your pocket all the way to the future of, well, everything. Let's dive in.
Here's a wild thought. You might not think of yourself as an AI user, but you absolutely are. Seriously. From the moment you wake up to the end of your day, AI is kind of like this invisible thread weaving through your life, quietly shaping your world.
Just think about it for a second. When you unlock your phone just by looking at it, that's AI. When Netflix somehow knows exactly what movie you want to watch next, yep, that's AI too. And when Google Maps tells you you'll arrive at 5:17 p.m., or Amazon suggests that thing you didn't even know you needed, you guessed it, it's all powered by different flavors of artificial intelligence.
Okay, so what is this stuff that's suddenly everywhere? Let's get a really clear, simple definition.
At its absolute core, AI is all about giving computers the ability to do things that, would normally require a human brain. Things like learning, solving problems, and understanding what we're saying. For example, we humans are amazing at spotting patterns. If I show you the numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, your brain just kind of knows the next one is 25. Well, we can teach AI to do that. When you ask Siri or Alexa a question, that's speech recognition. And when a traffic camera can actually read a license plate, that's AI doing image analysis.
So AI is the big overarching idea, right? But the real engine that's driving this whole revolution is a specific part of AI called machine learning. And if you understand this one thing, everything else is going to click into place.
So here's the most important part, the key takeaway. With machine learning, we don't give the computer a giant list of if-then instructions. Instead, we let it figure out its own rules by showing it a ton of examples. This is a complete game changer in how we build smart systems. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, that's old-school programming. You have to write every single rule by hand. But on the right, you've got machine learning. We just feed it examples, tons of inputs and the correct outputs, and it literally learns the logic that connects them all by itself.
This whole learning process basically happens in a two-step dance. First is training. This is where the model just sifts through massive amounts of old data, let's say thousands of past loan applications, and just looks for patterns. Then comes step 2, inference. This is where the now trained model uses what it learned to make a prediction on brand new data it's never seen before, like deciding whether to approve your loan application. Okay, so we know machines learn from data, but how exactly do they learn? Well, it turns out there are 3 main styles of machine learning. Let's look at the 2 most common types. First up is supervised learning. Think of this as learning with an answer key. All the data is neatly labeled with the correct answers. Like training a spam filter on a million emails that are already marked spam or not spam. Now, contrast that with unsupervised learning. Here, the data is just a big, messy, unlabeled pile. The AI's job is to find hidden patterns all on its own, like figuring out how to sort a bunch of news stories into categories like sports or politics without ever being told what those categories are. The third type is reinforcement learning. And honestly, the best way to think about it is it's like training a dog. You give it a treat for good behavior, and you penalize it for bad behavior. Over time, it learns what to do to get the most treats. This creates this really powerful learning loop. An agent, which is just our AI model, tries something out. The world, the environment, reacts and gives it a reward or a penalty. The agent takes that feedback and adjusts what it's going to do next time. This is how AI models learn to absolutely dominate complex games like chess and Go, and it's super important for things like robotics and self-driving cars.
All right, you with me? Because now we're going to go one level deeper. Within machine learning, there's this incredibly powerful approach that's behind almost all of the really mind-blowing stuff we're seeing today. It's called deep learning.
Because, it's one thing to learn from a nice, neat spreadsheet, but how in the world does a machine learn to recognize a cat in a photo or understand the words you're saying? That's messy, real-world data, and normal machine learning can struggle with it.
The answer is deep learning. It uses these really complex systems called artificial neural networks. And get this, they're actually inspired by the interconnected web of neurons inside our own brains, which makes them amazing at finding those really subtle patterns in messy, complicated data.
So the way these networks learn is actually really elegant. It's basically a guess and correct loop. First, the network takes a look at some data and makes a guess. That's the forward pass. Then it checks its guess against the right answer. If it's wrong, and it will be at first, it works backward to adjust all its internal connections to try and make a slightly better guess next time. Now imagine that loop happening millions or even billions of times.
And all of this, all these layers of technology, bring us to the thing that's completely dominating the headlines today, generative AI.
And this is a huge leap. For years, AI was mostly used to analyze, to classify, and to predict things. But now with generative AI, we have systems that can create brand new things completely from scratch.
So simply put, generative AI is a type of AI that, after learning from enormous amounts of data, can produce totally new original content. This isn't just copying and pasting, it's synthesizing what it's learned to create something that has never existed before. And I know you've seen these tools. For writing text, you've got ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. For creating those incredible images, there's Midjourney and DALL-E. We're even starting to see mind-blowing AI-generated video with tools like Sora. This new creative power is what makes this moment feel so different. So let's just put it all together one last time. Think of it like a set of Russian nesting dolls. The biggest doll on the outside is artificial intelligence, the whole big field. Open it up, and inside you find machine learning. Inside that is deep learning with its neural networks. And at the very core, the newest piece is generative AI, the models that can create. Each layer builds on the last one.
So we've covered a lot, from the basics of AI all the way to the cutting edge. But this all leads to one final really important question. This technology is basically a mirror. It's learning from the gigantic collection of human knowledge, art, and conversation that we've put online. As it keeps evolving, the biggest question isn't just what can it do? It's what do we, the people building it and using it, want it to become?